This demonstration used just 5 ounces of my latest toxin. Tomorrow, this will seem like child's play. Gotham, this is your only warning.
Having played Arkham Knight almost 3 years ago and being unable to put it down, I was eager to jump back into the grim streets of Gotham. After sitting down with the game and taking my fanboy blinders off, I can appreciate Arkham Knight for what it does well, but I slowly started to notice some major flaws in the overall design. Arkham Knight starts off quick, throwing you straight into the action. The Joker is dead, and Gotham has been quiet for some time now. On Halloween night, Scarecrow threatens the city with a new fear toxin, causing the 6 million residents of Gotham City to evacuate. From here, the rogues gallery of villains are allowed to run rampant in the streets of Gotham, but this is where the story starts to fall apart. We are introduced to the Arkham Knight, the whiniest, least intriguing villain the Batman has ever had to face. Besides the fact his identity is laid out in front of you halfway through the plot, there's little to nothing interesting about this character. His overall presence drags down the story. With him leading the charge as one of the main villains, it only helps show how underutilized the other villains in the Batman lore really are. Most of the time, they're only used as side missions and serve no additional structure to the main narrative. This is disappointing. Putting characters like Two-Face, the Penguin, and the Riddler in the forefront of the story, along with Scarecrow, could raise the stakes considerably for the Caped Crusader. Instead, Arkham Knight attempts to sell a season pass, offering more in-depth looks at these characters through expansion packs, ultimately holding the entirety of the package back from being truly amazing. Side missions are boiled down to doing one section of gameplay over and over again. Two-Face focuses on stealth, Penguin has you doing melee combat, with others like the Firefly having you chase him down throughout the city. The weakest by far is the Riddler, forcing you to drive the Batmobile on a series of racetracks in the Gotham sewers, as well as collecting the 243 Riddler trophies around the city. After about 100 or so trophies, it gets a bit repetitive. Where Arkham Knight also falls flat is the technical issues. Throughout my 17 hours with the game, I noticed a lot of struggling with the camera as it tried to stay current with what's going on. A glitchy cape, odd clipping, and some rough animations pulled me out at times, but I can mostly look past them thanks in part to the amazing graphics and the stellar character designs. There may be some drastic changes with characters from what they previously looked like, Scarecrow being an example, but most of the time they improve on the design. In other aspects, there are some vast improvements. Batman moves faster, hits harder, and looks flashier doing it. New enemies change up combat, causing players to think on their feet instead of just mashing buttons. The combat feels too easy in earlier parts of the game, but by the end I felt constantly challenged. This iteration adds new twists on familiar territory, giving players the opportunity to play as 2 heroes simultaneously. Batman can team up with Nightwing, Robin, and Catwoman to take on some of the toughest enemies, switching back and forth by a simple press of the button. Stealth segments feel hit or miss at times. Most stealth encounters allow Batman to move around too easily, making you feel more in control, yet strips most of the challenge away. A variety of gadgets shake up gameplay constantly, being used in both melee and stealth combat. But it's all too easy to stay in the floor grids and take enemies out from there while doing stealth missions. Tank combat, on the other hand, is mostly miss. At the start it's fun and interesting, but the Batmobile slowly becomes a hindrance on gameplay. Speeding through the streets in the Batmobile is a blast, tearing around corners as enemies try their best to jump out of the way, but having to stop to turn into a tank and fight unmanned drones becomes tiresome when trying to get from A to B. It felt boring and dragged down my enjoyment. The tank segments just don't fit. Although driving through the city feels amazing, in order to avoid the tank combat it's best to glide. Zipping through the air is thrilling. Arkham Knight improves on Arkham City gliding mechanics tenfold, allowing Batman to fly farther and faster than ever before. Being able to call in the Batmobile from any height in tandem with the ability to rocket out of the driver's seat and soar through the air makes getting around Gotham something special. As a huge Batman fan, I love what they did with about 3/4 of the game. Some standout plot points, stellar character designs, and engaging ways to traverse the city keep me coming back to Arkham Knight. Unfortunately, I can't get past the unnecessary tank combat, the terrible utilization of Batman's most interesting villains, and the uselessness of the Arkham Knight makes me feel overall disappointed in what's supposed to be the epic ending to the beloved Arkham series. By my last run through, I put the controller down, not only wishing there would be more, but also wishing it would be better.